that who's a Mason are doing what they're told to do. You will find that the U.S. is watching closely how Venezuela and Russia pull off a nuclear deal. They're establishing all the power plays that they need to, first, they're going to have an invasion of the United States. That's going to happen. That's what they're planning. They've planned it all along. We are a major obstacle. We're the last obstacle to keep the New World Order from coming to play. Because we're a Christian nation and because we are individual thinkers.
Let me say this, and then I'll get off. I agree with you, Tom, to a certain extent. I think what's happening is that these illegal foreclosures and these tremendous amounts of default on credit cards and whatnot, the people that are in control, the judges in the bankruptcy courts and the judges that are finally determining that people need, due diligence before they have a home taken, that they need to go before a court. They're smart enough, and I believe that there's enough with integrity, even if they're black-robed people, that they're going to say, look, there is no way that the majority of people in the United States have put themselves in a position out of ignorance to go into bankruptcy or to have their homes repossessed. They know the game. So I think America is going to see this huge jubilee, like a Hebraic year of jubilee. Yes, where in Revelation 2 or 3, I'm not sure which one, Jesus said, they say you are poor, but I say you're rich. These bankers, these globalists have laid up treasures for themselves for the last days, and God is going to do a James chapter 5 on them, and the righteous and the poor folks are going to get back everything that is theirs. And not only is it theirs, but for a Christian, let me tell you folks, I don't own anything. Everything that I'm doing, everything I wear, my house, my home, my car, my bank account, God's allowing me to use it to live, but every penny is His. I know it, and He knows it, and He's going to, look, if you're His, what does the word redemption mean? You've been bought back. Not just for eternity, but in daily life, we've been redeemed. We've been repurchased. He's claimed what's His. He's the God of all creation, the God of the universe, and He's going to have what's His. And the rest of it is going to be cast into the pit. That's what we've got to know.
Kathy?
Yes, he is telling the exact truth. And that's all that we got to know is the Word of God. And what he's saying about the Jubilee coming, that's the truth. We are going to see a Jubilee in here. They are going to come in. They're going to offer to pay our bills. They are going to offer to forgive our debts. And we're going to have a short time of peace and tranquility. And then Satan is going to demand from us what he wants.
And the microchip.
According to the Bible, the wealth of the wicked has been laid up for the righteous.
Yes,
so,
yes.
The communists want redistribution of wealth. They're going to get what they're asking for. See you all. Thanks.
Tennessee, thank you for the call. Interest.
Make your own gluten-free flour.
530. These days, and they look at that, and in the back of their mind, they know that something is going on, but they refuse to acknowledge it because it ruins the show.
We get so caught up in the distraction that we lose sight of what truly is going on. Catherine?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I was thinking, just as he was speaking, that this week, at the beginning of the week, there was a shooting at the Pentagon, and I haven't seen anything on the news only one time, and that was it.
Yeah, and that's kind of because that someone would take pot shots at the Pentagon.
Yeah,
I call it a fake.
My problem with it was they didn't use a big enough caliber.
I would say off the top it's fake. I don't because they're going to start blaming the militia. They're going to set rust dug fires up. You'll find, if you Google, you'll find an ingenious article that was written. It's called Slavery and the Eight Veils of Understanding. Eight Veils of Understanding, I did expose on it. It was an article done by Don Harkins of the Idaho Observer. An absolutely ingenious article. I expounded with my own 6 phases, and we've talked about this on the show before, of why people do not wake up, why they cannot accept what's going on. So you'll find, if you look that up, you'll find there's 8 veils of understanding that people have to go through. And very, very few people go through those 8 veils. And
it's a very painful, ugly process.
Absolutely. That's why. Go ahead.
I mean, my time of waking up started in a law enforcement interrogation room. It only went downhill for quite a while from there. And you wake up and I was on their team. That was what was funny. I was a criminal investigator, for close to 13 years, and I had an incident happen, and I can relate to what the NPR announcer was saying about if he sees Muslims on an airplane or around.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who feel that very same way.
I feel the same way. I was threatened very directly. Someone put a device that made it look like an IED on the front porch of my house. And, it was on CNN, it was all over the place. And so for the longest time, every time I'd look over and see someone of Muslim ethnicity, hair would go up on my neck, and I'd get very tense. And
the discussion on Monday between Ron Williams and Bill O'Reilly was about Muslims were behind the attack at 9/11. And they were discussing that it wasn't necessarily so, and yet that's not what we're focusing now in the conversation. We're focusing on Vivian Schiller and George Soros and Ron being fired. It's like we're leaving out the part of the discussion about that Muslims did not do the attack at 9/11.
Right.
There were people in America who were behind the planning and the training and the funding and then the implementation and then the cover-up and then the bribery and then all that work, John.
Oh, I know. It goes back to what I was saying about the magician. The magician is waving his right hand around, distracting you while he's pulling off the deal with the left. And so they got
including, as Kathy was commenting, that we need to keep our eyes open because a part of this magician stuff, John, that you're talking about is their intention to bring the whole world under one religious tent. Kathy?
Yeah, that's exactly what their intention is. And they want to keep our eyes off of Astana. And I think that we need to do quite a few shows on Astana. Because that's where the one world religion is all being formed and taken care of behind our backs. Right now, even today.
Well, Kathy, let me ask you. There's all this governmental chatter about aliens, and the UN has set up the equivalent of the Walmart greeter to go out and shake hands with ET and take them out to dinner, and doing all this craziness. And I wonder if they will use that once again, the magician pulling the rabbit out of the hat. They're going to pull ET out of the hat, and ET's going to say, "Y'all need to come together under this great."
Can't we all be friends, whether we're green or gray or red or tanned or black? Who knows, Kathy?
Yeah, they're going to use it. They're going to try to use it, but you have to again know your enemy very, very well. Who is your enemy? And in this case, Satan is setting this whole thing up because he can't come to us and he can't say to us, "Hey, listen here, I want you to meet this demon or this demon or this demon. But he can come to us and say, here's a little alien stranger I'd like you to meet. Because that's what alien means, a stranger. So people will adopt that. But if you knew you were shaking hands with a demon, you'd be backing up 30 feet.
Well, I had something that's shady, but that's okay.
Tom,
What I'd like to do is just, and I'll make this quick, is this idea, this notion came up in 1917. Thomas Dewey mentioned it. 1938, Rockefeller through Princeton University funded the War of the Worlds broadcast, Orson Welles, to test to see if this would work. And then in 1948 was Roswell. At the same time, Israel formed the state. This has all been pre-planned. The sons of God, you will find in Genesis 6:4, the sons of God are fallen angels with human form. That's a fact. And they will be coming back. And they are what's considered to be the ascended masters of the New Agers. They're considered to be aliens by the UFOologists, and the sons of God for those in the Bible that know that they are fallen angels. And they will be used, just as the caller said, for distraction. But there's going to be a disclosure. That's coming. And that's what has been set up for, the sci-fi and the movies and TV, all that has been set up for this day, that they have disclosure. And the Book of Enoch will take a major role in this, because the Book of Enoch is very, very significant now. And the increase, the approval of the Druid religion to be a religion in the UK, because the Illuminati worships through the Druid, what do you call it, canon or doctrine, whatever the heck they call it. That's very significant.
I think, Tom, you mentioned recently that there's more than just one Enoch here. And, Enoch, that name is biblical, right? Had meeting with God, then left or something, and now there's this new Enoch?
Well, there's two Enochs. You see, you had one Enoch in the line of Cain. Cain, when he left the Garden of Eden, his first son was named Enoch. However, in the seventh line from Seth, there's an Enoch, and that's the Enoch that walked with God. Now, Captain knows this better than I, but Enoch is referred to in the Bible, the Book of Enoch is referred to in the Bible. However, I believe, based on evidence, that the Book of Enoch, at some point in time, has been rewritten in many different ways, because now the books that you get in 1917, 1883, they've got outlandish claims. So here's a very interesting point that I found, is that the Book of Enoch is accepted by the UFOologists to prove there's aliens. Aliens. The Book of Enoch is almost word for word in some ways with the Quran. It's approved by the Muslims. The Book of Enoch is approved by the New Agers for their ascended masters. And the Book of Enoch is accepted by many Christians. It brings everybody together. And there comes the music, of course. Yep.
John from Texas, thank you for the call.
Message from Hempview.
It's 23 minutes. And the industry of gold, the people out there who are selling gold in the millions and billions and trillions of dollars in their transactions, that there are some of these institutions who are selling paper receipts for gold, right? They're selling ounces of gold, 10 ounces of gold, 100 ounces of gold, and then they're handing people receipts for these things. And they're selling 100 receipts for every 1 ounce of real gold that they have. How dare they? Well, that's what they've been doing with mortgages. They've been selling them again and again and again and again. And in the process, sometimes within 1 day, sometimes within 3 days, that original promissory note is paid off. It's paid off. It's already paid. And so when the banks come back to do a foreclosure, in fact, it is an act of theft, and they know it. And they know that Americans don't know it. And so they help themselves. When they get someone a notice of default, they're working to persuade somebody to walk away from their house that has been paid off already. They know it, and they know that we don't know it. And I'm thinking at some point, Kathy and Tom, we were talking about the Day of Jubilee. At some point